You see billionaires on magazine covers, private jets, luxury yachts, and $50 million homes. And most people believe the same story. They must have worked harder, saved more, and built amazing companies. But the real truth about how billionaires actually make money is far darker and far less obvious. Before we dive in, make sure to follow the channel and drop a like. Because on this channel, we break down how money and power actually work. Here is the first truth almost nobody talks about. Billionaires rarely make their fortune from salary or even business profit. They make it from ownership. When a normal person earns money, they get paid for time. A salary, a contract, a deal. But billionaires structure their world differently. They own assets that produce money constantly. Think about someone like Jeff Bezos. His yearly salary used to be around $80,000. That's less than many managers make. Yet his wealth grew by tens of billions. Why? Because he owned shares in Amazon. When the company grows, the value of those shares explodes. The real game isn't income, it's equity, and equity behaves very differently from income. If you earn 5,000 euros a month, that's 60,000 euros per year. But if you own 10% of a company that becomes worth 1 billion euros, your stake becomes worth 100 million euros. And that increase can happen almost overnight. This is the first hidden engine of billionaire wealth. They own pieces of systems that scale globally. But the second truth is even more surprising. Billionaires often don't sell their assets. They borrow against them. Imagine you own $1 billion in stock. If you sell it, you might pay huge taxes. But if you go to a bank and say, "I have $1 billion in assets," the bank will happily lend you $100 million. Now you have cash, without selling anything. Your stock stays invested, continues to grow, and you spend the borrowed money. Many ultra-wealthy people finance their lifestyles this way. Mansions, yachts, investments, often funded by loans secured by their own assets. It's called the borrow against wealth strategy. And it's one of the most powerful financial tools in the world. But here's where things get even deeper. The biggest fortunes are not built from one company. They are built from networks. Billionaires operate inside ecosystems of investors, venture capital firms, private equity funds, and elite financial institutions. Deals circulate inside these circles long before the public ever hears about them. A startup gets early funding. The investors receive equity. If the company explodes in value, their stake multiplies hundreds of times. This is how a relatively small investment can turn into billions. For example, early investors in companies like Facebook, Tesla, or Google didn't just earn profits. They owned the upside when those companies became global giants. And the final piece of the puzzle is leverage. Leverage means using other people's money to build wealth faster. Private equity firms buy companies using large amounts of borrowed capital. Real estate investors purchase massive property portfolios using bank financing. Venture capitalists invest pooled funds from institutions. When the investment works, the returns are enormous. When it fails, the losses are often distributed across investors, lenders, or funds. This asymmetric structure is one of the reasons wealth concentrates so heavily at the top. So the dark truth about billionaire wealth is not just hard work or genius ideas. It's ownership of scalable assets, access to elite financial networks, the ability to borrow against wealth, and the use of massive leverage. Once you understand this system, the world of money starts to look very different. Because billionaires are not just earning money. They are positioning themselves inside systems that manufacture wealth. If you want more deep breakdowns about power, money, and how the financial world really works, make sure to like the video, follow the channel, and check out the next video on the Capital Mind.